Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking it out if you're new. This video is super late, but yeah, life happens. Welcome back to What I Watched, Read, and Played, where as the title, obviously states, we're going to explore what I watched, read, and played in April 2024, and I'll give you some recommendations, I might tell you what to avoid, and we'll just check it all out together. So, starting right off with the movies that I watched this month. This movie I actually watched last month. I watched it in preparation for April 1st, April Fools. And so I kept it here because I didn't want to spoil the video. And this is Cats 2019. This is a movie about a bunch of cats who want to die and go to heaven, basically. This is based off of the classic Broadway musical. This is the 2019 film where they used the real fur technology. And there are a bunch of CGI cats running around with human faces, human body proportions. It's terrible. Don't watch it sober. Don't watch it alone. Maybe watch it and have a good time with your friends like I did. But, yeah, there's no plot. It's just song after song after song for nearly 2 hours. And it's the longest 2 hours you will ever feel in your life. Why they decided to make the cats so ugly, I'll never understand. So it's ugly, it's boring, don't watch it. In the opposite end, then I went and saw Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. This is the latest movie from the Monsterverse, where we see, as the name implies, Godzilla and Kong team up to take on the new rival for Kong, known as the Scar King. And so this is a fun one. This I explain to my friends all the time as a cheeseburger movie. Is it high cinema? Is it the greatest thing I've ever seen? No, not at all. But it's fun. It's like fast food, like a cheeseburger. Sometimes you need a cheeseburger, just something to eat, to enjoy, to sustain yourself, to entertain yourself. And that's what Godzilla x Kong is. The action is fun. The movie is pretty funny. It's silly. This movie knows how ridiculous it is. It is fun to see the departure from 2014's Godzilla. It was like, oh, the horror, versus now we're just like, what if the giant lizard and monkey teamed up to beat up the other big monkey? So yeah, this movie is coming to digital soon. It might still be in theaters near you. I enjoyed it. So I would say check it out if you're at all interested. It's a short, hour 40 or something like that. Not a long time commitment. It's fun, especially if you're watching it at home and you're worried about, I don't know. Put it on in the background while you're doing something else. Then Morgan M. Steele and I watched Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. We watched the movie of it. That's now on Disney+. I have been morbidly curious about... I have always passively observed Taylor Swift. So I was always curious about the Eras Tour, but never, obviously not committed enough to pay the hundreds of thousands of dollars for a ticket to the concert itself. But when the movie came out, I was curious, but I was apprehensive because of my limited knowledge of Taylor Swift. I didn't want to go to the movie theater, especially because I didn't have any friends nearby that wanted to go. I didn't want to go and then, be sitting there while everybody else is cheering or standing up and I have no idea what's going on. So Morgan and I finally watched it last month and we recorded a reaction that's on this channel now. And then we also went and listened to the Tortured Poets Department on Morgan's channel. And so, yeah, I can confirm I have become a Folklore and 1989 girly. Those are my two Taylor Swift albums that have been on repeat since. And so, yeah, obviously it's not like a movie. It is a concert. So, another one where I could say you could probably put it on in the background while you're doing something. Like while you're cleaning the house, put the movie on your living room TV so that you can hear the music and you'll catch a glimpse at what Taylor's up to every once in a while. And then I participated in Cinemark, Regal, and AMC do the Mystery Monday movie. This is where you pay $5 and you can see a movie, a week or so early, but you don't know what it is. That's the catch. So I paid my $5 and the movie was The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. This movie stars Henry Cavill as well as a bunch of other Hollywood men, and this is basically Baby's first Inglourious Bastards. They are like a secret op, there's a Suicide Squad. They're off the books. They're meant to go kill Nazis. But if they get caught, they'll be disavowed and killed, that kind of stuff. This film is directed by Guy Ritchie, and I didn't love it. I thought it's okay. Would I have gone and seen it on my own? Probably not. But for $5, it was entertaining enough. It truly is like, go watch Inglourious Bastards or something else. It is a lesser, I feel, of that film. The only difference is this is supposed to be based off of like real historical events, but it's also like fantastical and silly about it. And so yeah, go watch Inglourious Bastards instead. The action is fun, the Nazi killing is fun, but the first act is so incredibly slow and boring that just skip this one, or watch it when it comes to streaming. Then I saw Challengers. This is a film starring Zendaya and two other gentlemen whose names are escaping me right now. And this is a movie about tennis. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not the sports guy. I don't like sports. So I don't go see sports movies. But this one was interesting because everybody was hyping it up. It was getting all the awards talk. So this is about three tennis players, Tashi, Art, and Patrick. And they grow up together and their relationship with each other, People have made jokes about this being the threesome movie. Not quite that. But it is interesting to see, these characters and how they grow from maybe partners to rivals to partners again. And the dynamics they have of the struggle of, their personal relationships, like their friendships or their romantic relationships, and their relationships on the tennis court. It is super fun and interesting. I would go see it again. It's still in theaters around me, and so go check that one out for sure. They get real creative with the cinematography and the dialogue at times, and just the editing. This movie is fun. It's fast-paced. Like I said, I am not a sports guy, but this game made me like, oh, maybe tennis can get extreme, man. Like, they get into it, and there are a couple shots that I don't want to spoil during the tennis match that it's like, oh, I don't even know how you... I don't even know how you guys pulled that one off, but it looks cool. So yeah, definitely go check out Challengers. And then what better way to treat myself, or punish myself, than by watching Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. This is Zack Snyder's rejected Star Wars script that then Netflix said, ooh, pick me, we'll make it. And so it is bad Star Wars fan fiction. It is what if we combined A New Hope and The Last Samurai and made both of them worse. Like, I am sorry. I try to defend Zack Snyder when I can, because, like, as a person, he's kind of a alright dude. But as a filmmaker, everybody has their own taste. I like his Justice League movie, if that wins me any credits or worsens my credit. But so yeah, this is the second part to last year's Rebel Moon Part 1. And this is also an incomplete movie, because Zack Snyder keeps doing this, where this is a 2-hour version, and he's already said there'll be the 3-hour director's cut later in the year. And just make the good version of the movie first. You can't keep redoing the movie after it's not good the first time. And so yeah, this movie is full of characters that you will never remember their names. It is full of cliches you've seen in every movie ever. Like I said, it is Seven Samurai and Star Wars, so go watch those two movies first instead. Save yourself the time. The action is okay, I guess you could say that. If you want to fast forward through like the first hour of the movie and just get to the fight and want to watch mindless action, sure, go for it. It is cool. They have knockoff lightsabers that aren't as good as regular lightsabers. Anthony Hopkins has a strange role in this movie as a robot named Jimmy. He's kind of what if you gave C-3PO a gun? And so he has a cool action sequence, I will admit. Like, Jimmy is the most interesting part for his few minutes of screen time. Save yourself the time, or if you're really curious, watch with friends. Like, everything's better when you watch it with friends. I could imagine sitting here nitpicking it with my friends would be more fun than watching this movie by myself again. And really, save yourself I don't know why I watched this version when Zack Snyder already told me it's not the real movie. That the 3-hour version will be coming later in the year. Like, why did I watch this one then? I don't know. The bad Star Wars fan fiction. Don't watch it. Moving on to shows that I watched this month. I am continuing my journey in the X-Men the Animated Series. I finished Season 3, which was mostly taken up by the Phoenix arc. You know, they introduced the Phoenix Saga, then they did the Dark Phoenix Saga, and, you know, this season of the show made me realize maybe all the Dark Phoenix movies suck because the story sucks. It is just so overblown. You know, people say that this animated version is the most accurate adaptation, and if it is, it is so uninteresting and so long. You know, Jean becomes the Phoenix and she does this, and then she dies and they're sad, but she's not actually dead. So then she's evil now and they're sad again. I wasn't really a fan of the Phoenix arc, and that's a majority of the X-Men Animated Series Season 3. I should have just watched X-Men 97, but I'm so far in now that I have to commit and finish the animated series. Season 4 so far has been more interesting. You'll hear about that in the next What I Watched, Read, and Played. The Invincible Season 2 finale was in April, and I think it was a good enough finale. I think it did leave people feeling a little mixed on the season. Like, this season was kind of almost the in-between season, where, like, not a ton happened this season. A lot of building up for next season. And so, that being said, Invincible is still better than, like, most of the other superhero content we've been getting lately. So, definitely check that one out on Prime Video when you've got the chance. Part of the reason this video is late is because I did delay it just so that I could watch all of the Bad Batch Season 3 and talk about the whole thing, you know, versus how the finale was in May. But so I did wait until Bad Batch was over. And I think the Bad Batch Season 3 was my favorite of the Bad Batch. This is obviously the story of the Bad Batch and their adventures dealing with the Empire. This third season explored what the Empire wanted to do with Omega, as well as helping to, I won't spoil things, but, you know, feeding into future and or past Star Wars projects. And I enjoyed it a lot. I liked the dynamics. I liked the villains more in this season than the villains of the past. I also felt like this season was more focused. Like, not that shows can't have filler episodes. Filler episodes usually actually give character development. But at least this season, I felt like every mission the Batch went on had a purpose. You know, we were going to this silly planet because this silly planet has the gun we need. Or we're going to this empty, abandoned planet because we need food. You know, things like that made sense. Versus last season, I felt like it was just like, we're going to do a silly race episode because we want to do a silly race episode. And it's like, okay, you can do a silly race episode, but what's going on over there with the Empire? You know, like, I felt like last season was a little disjointed versus I feel like this season, very straightforward and gave a good ending to the Bad Batch. Ended the show that I was always kind of mixed on a good note. Then if we're looking at things that I read in April, I did quite a bit of reading. I finished Dune, which I plan on doing a full book review of, so I'm not going to get too into it. This is, of course, the 1963 novel, you know, the sci-fi novel about the Atreides family and their fight for the planet Arrakis. You know, it gets real political, you know. It's not crazy, you know, it's not Star Wars. It is almost more of a Game of Thrones Season 1, but for sci-fi. I enjoyed it a lot. They changed a lot of things for the Denis Villeneuve movies that I'll touch on in that video. But overall, I am glad I read the book, and now I want to continue reading the Dune series. I then was able to, because my local comic shop had a delay with Marvel Comics for like 2 months, so I've been issues behind. I finally read issues 2 through 4 of Ultimate Spider-Man. I really like the way this story's going. If you don't know, this is kind of a reboot of the Ultimate Universe, where Peter never became Spider-Man as a kid, and he's just been bitten now as an adult. And so it's watching grown Peter Parker with his wife, Mary Jane, and their 2 children as he learns to be Spider-Man and balance Spider-Man with that home/family life. I really like what they're doing with the Green Goblin right now, as well as using a villain like Kingpin, a character who's maybe a little downplayed. I think Kingpin is a good villain for this Spider-Man's first outing. Then I read Spectacular Spider-Men 1 and 2. This is a series from the creator of Star Wars Rebels and Gargoyles, Greg Weisman. This is a kind of crossover duo series with Miles and Peter, where they're both exploring kind of the same mystery with the Jackal. And I like it. This one's a fun one because you do have Peter and Miles. They both remark on how like the characters haven't been allowed to evolve and grow. They kind of fourth wall break. Where Miles is like, yeah, I've been doing the same stuff since I was 13 years old or whatever. And Peter's like, yeah, man, my back hurts after doing, I'm not 16 anymore. I can't keep doing this. Stuff like that. I think it's a fun series. It's only 2 issues in, so not a lot has happened yet, but I'm curious to see where it goes. Then, because of the movie trailer, I read Deadpool #1, and this is the new start of the new Deadpool run. And I'd admit, I was a little confused. This is clearly picking up after whatever happened last with Deadpool. Like, he now has a Carnage dog. A dog that is literally the Carnage symbiote. And him off on his usual hijinks. Hired gun. Coming across a bigger mystery that, with an issue 1, hasn't been explored very much yet. Maybe check that out if you're interested. The big one I read this month, though, was Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong. This is a crossover with Legendary and DC Comics, where, as the name implies, it is the Justice League versus Godzilla vs. Kong. Through some magical shenanigans of the Legion of Doom, Godzilla and the other MonsterVerse monsters have been put into the DC universe, and they wreak havoc around iconic DC locations. And so it's about the Justice League trying to figure out how to, defeat these titans of this universe, and it is interesting to see kind of, because you always wonder, like, Godzilla and those guys are so unstoppable in their universe. What happens when they're in a universe that has a Superman? And it is fun to see. That has 1 issue left that comes out in May, so I'll get the conclusion of that storyline next month. But yeah, I highly recommend you check that one out, either now in the single issues, or I believe there's a trade paperback coming in August. I also explored Batman First Night #1. This is a Elseworlds reimagining of Batman under DC's Black Label, so that's like their R-rated comics. And in this one, they explore what if Batman was in like the 1930s, 1940s when he first appeared, but it's like gritty and realistic. And so, Bruce doesn't have the Batmobile or any crazy technology. He is quite literally just a man in a costume. And he's hunting, like, these crazy abominations. They haven't really gone too into it. Again, it's in issue 1. It's establishing the world. I am curious what Batman villains we'll see in that run. And then I read Darth Maul, Black, White, and Red. This is a Marvel series. Usually it's Black, White, and Blood. But because of Star Wars, they didn't use blood, they used red. And so the gimmick of this book is, as it implies, all of the art inside is done with only 3 colors of ink, black, white, and red. And it's an anthology series that you could take as sort of canon, maybe not canon. A fun little story, kind of hard to explain because they are just random anthology stories. But go check it out. Then looking at video games I played this month, it's the same old, same old. I continued into Overwatch 2. They broke the game again. They brought back the 20% health penalty, you know, if you're taking damage at the moment. I'm not really sure why, but they are buffing tanks, you know, in May, so I guess we'll have to see. I played a little bit of Helldivers. That game is kind of slowing down on the content. You know, I think they need to add new enemies. The loop is starting... Some new enemies or some new missions. The loop is starting to get old a little quickly. And then the big game I got into, unfortunately, is Fortnite. My friend Morgan M. Steele got really into Fortnite when they added, like, the Lego and the Rock Band modes and the racing, you know, when Fortnite basically became Roblox. And I used to play Fortnite a lot, like 2017 when it came out, and then I stopped, and now I'm head first back into it. You know, got the battle pass, finished the battle pass already. I am into it. The Greek mythology is so fun. The Avatar event was really good. You know, the Avatar mythics that they added, as well as the Greek weapons are also cool. Overall, it's just a really fun. The parkour mechanics, I have spent maybe too much time in the parkour mechanics. I also, when I play with friends, will play things like the Rock Band mode or the racing or Lego. You know, it is interesting to see how Fortnite went from like this little battle royale that you heard some YouTubers talking about to the game that it is today. But that's what I watched, read, and played in the month of April 2024. Let me know if you watched, read, or played any of the same stuff or what you did in April. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked what you saw here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know when the next one's coming. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.